Hello! That's a very grand opening, I'm aware of that, but welcome to the Giggle Shack YouTube channel. Thanks for clicking on this video. Hopefully you've clicked on this video because you want to learn more about how to set up your own comedy night. You might be already running one, you want some tips to see how I do it, or you might be interested in setting one up, or you might just be a fan of comedy and you want to know kind of a little bit about what goes on, or what goes into running a comedy night. So stick around and, we'll all learn together. So, I'll give you a little bit of background about me before I go into what I think is needed to run a good comedy night. So, the Giggle Shack, if you don't already know me, is also the name of the comedy nights that I've been running since 2017. I spent a few years on the UK comedy circuit as a performer, going up and down the country, playing all kinds of gigs, from lovely theatre gigs to terrible gigs in the lounge of pubs with the bar was right next door and everyone was playing pool and just general debauchery on a Friday and Saturday night. I've done a lot. So in 2017 I decided I wanted to set up my own gig. I was fed up of going to these places that weren't properly run. I thought I'm going to put a proper well run, hopefully, comedy night on the circuit and just see how we get on. So 2017 I put a post out on Facebook basically, just on the local forum, saying, has anyone got a venue that's looking to put something a bit different on, put a comedy night on? Didn't really have a clue as to what I was doing fully. I knew what I wanted from a room, but didn't know the full kind of setup really. But somebody from Helsby Community Sports Club, which is not easy to say when you speak a million miles an hour like me, lovely girl called Chloe, got in touch and said that they're interested. So I went along. Now, the room itself, the venue was really old and dingy. It was a bit damp. But it just looked perfect for comedy because you need, a low ceiling. It just looked, had this nice vibe to it, a kind of rustic feel, I suppose, which is another way for saying it looked a bit of a old, you know what I mean? So she was really on board. So the venue looked good. They had their own inbuilt PA system, which we'll come to later on, about how to get one of those. And she was really up for it. This was a sports club that had its own function room. They had a little bar room, and they had a snooker room, but they had a function room which was mainly used for weddings and christenings, that kind of thing. So that was a good venue, and also a supportive owner or manager, which is the next step. So step one is to get in a good venue. This one is equally, maybe even more important than the layout of the venue, because you can kind of work around that. If the venue doesn't look 100% perfect, most of the elements are there, but there's one or two you're not sure of, you can get around that. You can find ways around to set up the stage and stuff like that. But you've got to have supportive owners or bar managers, whoever it is that's invited you in, because if they're not fully behind it, you're kind of off to a non-starter. Because this is the important thing to remember when you get into it. It is really, really hard to put on a comedy night. Yeah, and the next bit, so you've got a decent venue, you've got a great supportive management team or owner. The next bit you need is decent sound and lighting, something that I learned over the years is much more important than I thought. I just thought if you've got speakers and people can hear and the stage has got some lights on, that's fine, but you've got to have the best that you can get, because the sound and the lighting can make all the difference. So luckily at Helsby, when I first set up that one, they already had like an inbuilt system, which I thought, well, that'll be good enough. I'll use that. But thankfully, they also had the resident DJ, Simon, who's sadly no longer with us, who used to do all their functions. And he had the massive sound system, the big speakers and the lighting, which looked like it might have been a bit of overkill, but it was perfect the way that it's set up. A well-lit stage so you can see the comedian's face, which again, you might think, well, can't you just see that anyway? But you need to be able to see them clearly, because with comedy, sometimes it can be like a little throwaway line or a little look. And if people don't see it, then it doesn't have the same impact. So yeah, so you get a good sound and lighting system. A lot of venues already have them. If you go to a music venue, for example, they'll already have most of that. Therefore, you might just want to get yourself a spotlight or something like that. Most of my venues, well, bar one actually, all of them, I've got their own systems. But we've got a gig out at the Goshawk, a lovely little pub out towards Chester that doesn't have anything. But I've got a small, I can't remember the name of it, which is terrible, but I got it from a company called Gear for Music, which is great. I'll put the link in the description. Go and have a look. There's loads of all kind of budgets. Obviously, if you're only going to be putting gigs on in the back rooms of pubs, you don't need a massive, powerful speakers or anything like that. You just need something that's going to do the job, and then decent lighting to light the stage area, just kind of warm it up, and a spotlight as well. So just check out Gear 4 Music, and they're really helpful as well. So if you speak to them and tell them kind of the size of the room, because I'm not technical at all. So if you tell them it's going to be a room that fits 100 people, and what you're going to do, they'll tell you what exactly that you need. And you also I think you get a 5-year warranty with them as well. So so sound and lighting. So a quick recap on where we are so far. You've got a suitable venue. Typically what you want is a pub with its own separate room, ideally, because you don't want to be competing with the noise coming from the bar, which I did do quite a lot when I first started in comedy. You'd be surprised how many bad promoters there are out there. So supportive owners, again, there are a lot of unsupportive owners out there. I made my mistake, that mistake from a place in Warrington, which is now closed down, unsurprisingly, where the guy invited me in to go and have a chat with him. When I went for the first meeting, he wasn't there. He left his assistant to deal with it, and I got the vibe about it then. And they just didn't sell any tickets. They wouldn't put any posters up because they didn't want to ruin they wouldn't put blue tack on the walls. They wouldn't even put them in the toilets. And we only sold 14 tickets. I ended up cancelling it because they made no effort whatsoever. And I knew my instinct, my gut was telling me, and I've got quite a sizable gut. My gut was telling me that it was no good, but I went with it anyway, and it turns out I was right. So just trust your instincts on that. If you're not getting a full vibe from somebody that they're going to be right there for you, then walk away. Right, well, it's getting exciting now. So you've got the venue, you've got the owners are behind you, you've got the lighting and sound system will be in place, whether that's your own one or one that's going to be supplied by the venue. You've got a date booked in for the gig, which is squeaky bum time. Now, what you need to do is put your lineup together. So the nights that I run are what they call pro nights. So it's 3 professional comedians plus a compere, which is typically me or my friend John. So what I try to do is try and book a diverse lineup. Now, what I mean by diverse when it comes to comedy is acts that are different styles. A lot of people will think it's going to be, based upon race or gender, which I don't go on that. I go on who's funniest and best for the particular night. And I always try and have something a bit different in each section. So, for example, last Friday over at Halton Stadium, we had Johnny Awesome opening the show. Now, if you don't know Johnny Awesome, he is an amazing musical comedian. He spends his whole set just playing brilliant musical songs. A bit of banter with the audience, and they just up with these fantastic, hilarious songs. So what you don't really want, ideally, is to have Johnny followed by another comedian doing the same thing. Now, obviously, it'll be different because it'll be different songs and whatever, but you want to have a bit of a contrast to that. So then in the middle of that time, we had Sam Avery closing the show. Now, Sam Avery is he's a storyteller. So he tells story about his lives, about his kids and being married and, stuff like that. So a bit of a contrast from Johnny. And then closing the show, we had Angelos Epithemiou, who, if you're a comedy fan, you'll know from Shooting Stars. He was the guy that came with a carrier bag, really nerdy looking character. Complete contrast to the opening, the middle, and the headline. 3 totally different acts. So there's something for everyone to enjoy, because not everyone's going to like all 3. Some will. I mean, when you're booking quality acts like we do at the Giggle Shack, they're all going to be good. But people will obviously prefer a particular style or comedian over the others. But you've given everybody a bit of a contrast. So you've picked something for everybody. Now, a quick recap again of where we are so far. You've got the venue. You've got the owners that are behind you. You've got the setting. And now you've got the lineup. So it's starting to get real. Next, we'll come on to tickets. So, like most events now, tickets are sold online. There are loads of different platforms you can use. There's Eventbrite, there's Ticket Quarter, loads of others I've just forgot. Skiddle is a good one, Fat Soma. The one I use for the Giggle Shack and have done since 2018 is called Joke Pit. They're a comedy-specific platform for selling tickets. Really good, the guy's really nice, really, really easy to use and set up. And the thing I like about it is you get the money through a few days after selling tickets. So, because I run quite a lot of nights and I'm juggling budgets here, there and everywhere. So sometimes I need to kind of take some of the money from a previous gig to pay for the last one, and you always have a float of money. So they're really good and dead easy to set up. Again, there's Fatsoma, Eventbrite. But, you know, you could always, if you have a comedy club in your area, you can always go and ask them who they use, or just Google them, or again, just, you know, contact me and I'm happy to help. So, but yeah, depending on the kind of deal you've got with the venue, there's a couple of the venues I don't actually sell the tickets for, and they do that themselves. But if you're going to be doing it yourself, then I would probably recommend Joke Pit as the easiest one and the most helpful one to use. The others are really good as well, but I just prefer them. Right, now we come to the promotions side of it. Now, this is where I think I excel because I'm really good at it. You've got to promote, whether that's in person, going around, people giving out flyers, whether it's on social media. I would recommend that you set up a Facebook page, an Instagram. I personally don't use X. I did use it, but it's just far too toxic now. It's just people arguing all the time, so I don't bother with that. Facebook and Instagram is probably the biggest one. TikTok as well, maybe, but I don't really use that one. So set up a Facebook page, get on Instagram. If you've already got a following on TikTok or any one of those, then either just use that one or just set up another one and kind of point people to that. So get good posters designed and then just start sharing everywhere that you possibly can. Set up an event. I use Facebook ads. Some people don't like them. I find you do get a bit of a boost from them when you do that. So just kind of... just spread the word via a Facebook ad, but just share it. Tag all your friends in. Get out and do flyering as well. That's a good one. Doesn't always have a great deal of success, but I always feel kind of good because I feel like I'm putting a bit of an honest graft in. You've just got to let as many people know as possible that gig is on. You can't do much more than that, but make sure you've done every single thing you possibly can. Whether that's just harassing your friends, tagging people in, doing all this Facebook sharing, getting in the local paper, which I done that as well, trying to get on the radio. Just spread the word as far and wide as you possibly can to get as many people as possible to know that your gig's on. Put posters up in local chippies, in nail shops, hairdressers, wherever you can. Just really spread the word and just do as much as you possibly can to make sure you fill that place out. It's not easy, it's challenging, it's stressful. You have sleepless nights. The gig I do in Hellsbury, every single time it's on, I have the same thoughts that I'm going to cancel it. But then by the end of it, we get over 100 people. Sometimes we get 150 people. I'm like, I know, it's all right. So yeah, just promote the living daylights out of it and just make sure, I'm repeating myself here, that as many people as possible know that gig is on. And then hopefully that'll do the trick. You'll sell the place out. And then obviously on the night, you've just got to make sure that everybody has the best night possible. You've got to treat every single person that comes to that gig, you've got to treat them as if it's their only night out they're going to have that year. Because for some people, it will be. For whatever reason, people don't go out as often, whether it's because they've got, family lives, money, whatever. Every single person has got to be treated as if they're there for the first time and you're going to give them the best night possible. Now, you might find on a particular night that you've only sold half the tickets, and it is disheartening. It is hard work and you've got to really get yourself up for it. But there's a comedian called Tom Short. He does comedy courses now, I think. I'm not sure he does comedy as in stand-up anymore. He runs his own courses. And he was comparing a night over in Widnes once, and there was like 20 people in. And I'd seen comedians before where that happens. There's hardly anybody there. And the compare and some of the acts start slagging off the people that are there, saying, well, nobody's here, are they? And, this is going to be rubbish, whatever. But blaming the people that are there. But Tom Short said, he actually referenced that and said, you're the guys that have turned up. So we need to make sure that you have the best night possible. It's not your fault that nobody else came. You've got to treat that night as if you're on live at the Apollo and go out there and kick it in the doodahs and make sure they all have a brilliant night. If you do all of that, if you follow that, it's not really a formula. It's quite simple, really. If you go through all of that, you've given yourself the best possible platform to put on a successful comedy night. You've got a good venue, you've got good owners, the lineup's boss, you've sold all the tickets, you've done all you can. Just go out there and absolutely smash it. So if you've got to the end of this video, then hopefully you've learned something. Please subscribe, to the channel. We do more. I do more than just comedy. I go out and about. You know, me and my girlfriend Jen go out to Liverpool. It's only a new channel, so we haven't got loads of stuff on there. It's mostly just Liverpool and Benidorm, if I'm honest. But yeah, we're gonna with this channel is gonna grow and grow and grow. So if you've enjoyed it, please smash out a like. If you want to run your own comedy night and you've got any questions, I don't know if I said this earlier on, just pop them in the chat. My email is on the description somewhere as well on my page. Just drop me an email. Always happy to help anybody that wants to set up comedy nights, because genuinely, I'm going to say a heartfelt goodbye. The Giggle Shack is the best thing that I've ever done. It's given me a nice little side hustle, a bit of extra income, pays for my holidays. I get to work with some of the biggest and best names in comedy, which, if I'm being honest, when I was a comedian, those options were limited because I was good, but I wasn't that good to be mixing in the kind of circles as Lou Sanders and a few others that I've booked. So yeah, good luck with it. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video if you've enjoyed it, thumbs down if you haven't, and fair enough, and just leave comments, and please come back and visit some of our other videos. There'll be one here or here, wherever they put it. See you next time. Bye.